Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Okay, members, I declare the meeting open to the public. Can I welcome you all to the 54th meeting of the Public Accounts Committee in this mandate? Can I also advise that the committee meeting will be recorded and broadcast through Parliament buildings and online. However, there could be a slight delay in moving to any private session or back into public session, so please be patient with the system. Can I also advise anyone who will be joining us in the public gallery that they're very welcome, but to use mobile devices as long as they're in airplane mode, and that all devices are muted. You can connect to the Assembly Wi-Fi. The password details are available in the gallery rules, and it is not permitted at any time to take pictures or record any part of today's meeting. Have we any apologies?
Apologies, Chair.
Padraig Delargy is an apology. Joining us online, we have John Burrows, MLA, and then we have all other members present. Okay, members, can I refer you to the pack for a copy of the draft minutes of the meeting held on the 16th of October, the pages 6 to 10 of the meeting pack. If members are content, can I seek agreement of those draft meetings? Right. Minutes, sorry. Yeah.
Agreed.
Great. Okay, members, as always, can I remind you to ensure that you've considered the full agenda for the meeting today and that all relevant declarations are made early in the meeting in public session to ensure that they're recorded. Can I ask members at this point if you have any declaration of interest to make? Colin?
Chair of the Committee for Communities and also developing a private members bill in relation to homelessness.
Okay. David?
A member of the Economy Committee with the stuff coming up later on.
Okay.
Yes, Chair. Infrastructure Committee member and the APS to Communities Minister.
Thanks, Stephen.
Just the issue coming up with A5.
Thank you. John, you okay yet? Okay, and I will declare an interest as well. The A5 affects my constituency directly, and I've been a campaigner for the project for quite a number of years, so it's important to make that declaration. So thank you, members.
I just read some remember that.
Okay, Colin.
And I'll add the A5 as part of my constituency as well.
Thank you. Okay, and thanks, Cathal. Okay, members, under Chairperson's business, I just want to thank the team for the work they've done on the qualitative analysis of the GP stuff, which we'll discuss in private session later, but it's important to note in public record, given the huge number of responses we've had, that the team have put a huge amount of time and effort into bringing that together for the committee, and we're deeply appreciative of it. I also, now that not to embarrass Rodney Allen, but he is present here today, and I think it is important to thank him for his 40 years of service. He was just 10 when he joined the Northern Ireland Audit Office. I think it's an incredible achievement and milestone, and an absolutely exceptional level of public service. So on behalf of the committee, Rodney, we just want to thank you on behalf of the public across Northern Ireland for your lifetime of service.
Thank you very much, Chair, and for the letter that you sent me. It was very much appreciated.
Thank you. Also, members, there's been a discussion which we'll have more details on in the coming weeks, but of course standing orders allows for members to come in to committees remotely or a hybrid way. It allows that option flexibility depending on circumstances, etc., etc. The one request I would have as Chair is that if you are joining us remotely and choose that option, that you keep your camera on at all times. This is in the interest of fairness, obviously, for members, because the clerk and the assistant clerk have to record those who are present or not present at all times in the meeting, and it's difficult to determine if someone is engaging with the meeting or not if their screen is blank. So from here on, I would kindly request, and it is a request, I would request that the camera for those joining us online is kept on. So I appreciate that as well, members. Okay, there is no matters arising. There is no correspondence. And we'll now move, members, to agenda item 7, which is the memorandum reply on developing the skills for Northern Ireland's future. Can I refer you to the relevant documents? The correspondence from Ian Snowden, the accounting officer for the Department for Economy, at pages 16 to 23 of your pack, and also the clerk's brief at pages 3 to 6 of your table pack. And at this point, I'm going to invite the clerk to brief the committee.
Thank you, Chair. So you'll see from the relevant documentation that the committee wrote in September with a number of concerns about the MOR and looking for some more information and clarification on the recommendations. So the response is back, and that's what's before you today. Just also, if I refer you then to the brief in the table pack, which provides an analysis and summary of the key issues that have been addressed and some areas that may still need a bit more clarification. So it's a very extensive narrative, so there is a lot of detail in there. However, there would still be a few areas where I would say that perhaps, maybe a bit more clarification around timescales would be helpful to the committee. So just to help with that, if you just sort of turn over from the main page, I've done a table just trying to highlight where I think it's been fully addressed in terms of some of the recommendations, and where there's still maybe a bit more detail required. So in summary, 4 would appear to be fully addressed, and I've highlighted them in green. 3 I would suggest are partially addressed, where a bit more information would help. So they are in amber, and I would also suggest that 3 remain not answered in the way that you might have wanted. The strongest sections would appear to be around governance, industry engagement and disability inclusion. Where there still appear to be some gaps would be around data sharing, careers education, resourcing and timetables for delivery. The response, while it is very helpful, as I say, there is an awful lot of information there for you to digest, and it does offer analysis on future scoping work and imminent plans. However, it does stress, there's just maybe lacking in detail on some of the actual timelines for delivery. So I hope that's helpful, and if there's anything else you'd like at this stage,
Okay.
please do ask.
Thank you. Lucia, can I say thank you for breaking down the response into this very much a user-friendly document that clearly outlines what has been implemented or accepted and really what has not moved at all. And as members can see from the table, there's a traffic light system. Those that are green are grand. Those that are amber are just okay. And red, there's been little to no movement on at all. So you'll find a copy of this in your pack, and if you would glance over the various areas, I'm happy to take comments. We have our Vice Chair, Diane Forsyth.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just want to say thank you very much to the clerk team for pulling this together, because whenever I had got the original pack through, I was going through, the words of the letter and trying to actually figure out what it meant myself. So in a way, my notes were doing this, but not on as clear of a grid, and I guess it's a bit disappointing that it had to be pulled out and extracted this way, because we just really wanted to know what is in this table. So it's good to have it set out that way, and I just wanted to say thanks for that. Just kind of go into those that are red, because obviously that's the most concerning. I wonder on recommendation 6, where it's about our recommendation was coming from the theme of your development skills, and where people have additional needs and there's records with health and they're not getting shared across the Department for Education, and then whenever they're moving on to further and higher education, the data sharing to assist that comes back to our theme of that sort of siloed working. And I wonder, should we consider extracting that and right into all 3 to highlight we really have a recommendation on this, and we're concerned maybe it cuts across. We're only writing back here to the parties to the report, but I wouldn't want to see that one be dropped, because I know, and in particular, previous Deputy Chair Cheryl Brownlee, this kind of came from her line of question and concerns, and it's one that does seem to have fallen a wee bit by the wayside, and I wonder, is there anything further that we can do to pick up on that one?
I think that those are important suggestions, and I'd be happy to take them on board with the committee's agreement to seek further clarification as proposed. Are members happy enough with that proposal before I lay anyone else in? Okay, David?
And just to thank the team here for pulling it together. I was working exactly the same, I was working my way through going, and actually to be fair to Ian Snowden and the department, they actually have comprehensively answered a question we mightn't like the answer, and I think there's a couple of things I want to pick up on, but they have actually come back to us with a substantial answer, which is good to see. Within the committee as well, we had officials within the economy committee, we had officials in about apprenticeships, for example, and we are starting to hear about the auditor report and the PAC report and those things that are actually influenced, which is really positive. The bit I'm concerned about is exactly what Dan's saying, in that cross-departmental working. So if you look at careers education there in absolute red, to take the other one that's red, or in red, it's absolutely fundamental for the whole of your skills, but you actually start with the careers and make sure that young people know what's out there, for one, and also are able to choose the subjects at the right appropriate time to be able to make sure they're in that space to be able to go. It's concerning, that's outside of the Department of Economy, it's on the Department of Education, but it's that piece of wrap work that I think I agree totally if we write to them and get it back from another department, because it's got to be a holistic service here right across the departments, health as well. It's got to be all of them, not just onto one, because that careers piece is before you would come into economy, or before you would come to higher education, further education. So it's critical to that, and we can't allow that to remain as a red non-action.
Okay, so you're proposing a reply in that vein?
Yeah.
Okay. Cahill?
Thanks, Chair, and could I thank the team, Lucia and the team, for putting together. Chair, maybe throw something different in the mix. I mean, clearly in all that Dion and David has said, the three areas outlined in red, but for us to, if we're saying, right, we need to go back and ask the department's fine, we've heard that because of cross-departmental workings, it's not going to happen. Because of resources, it's not going to happen. We need to try and break that down a bit, to try and, to be honest, even for ourselves, as to how we tease that out. I mean, I'm not saying it's up to us to bring solutions, but it's up to us to interrogate it properly, because any report we've done, it's most of the issues is resourcing and most of the issues is cross-departmental working.
Yeah.
So, whilst it sits at red and it looks bad, I would support come back to them, but we need to identify ourselves how go back to our reports and say exactly, because we'll keep getting these back, and there may be no way. I don't know. I don't have the answers, but I can say it. But if you interrogate those three areas, it's cross-departmental. So one blaming the other. Let's go down each department. They might fob us off and say, "Well, it's the responsibility."
Skip route.
I mean, I don't. As part of the report, if we're going to interrogate it properly, let's have a look at that way. I don't know if there's any other examples in any other committees or any other ways of doing it. I just don't know, but. Maybe we should look at that formula going forward and maybe get some ideas and you thinking about it. I'm only throwing that out there. I don't. I mean, that's a suggestion, Chair.
Yeah, no, I think that the careers thing is obviously a key one, and we should certainly follow up on that. The one I was going to comment on is around that recommendation 6 and the fact that they cites legislative limits.
Yeah.
So the question is, if that's what's needed, then which of those three departments or who is going to
Lead.
bring legislation forward? Because we are constantly identifying it as an issue that's holding back so many areas. So if that's the issue, then what we need to know next is how's that legislative limit going to be addressed?
Yeah. Is that for DE then to resolve?
Will they cite the three? But we know it covers virtually all departments. Yeah. So if there's a legislative block on sharing of information, then I don't know where it goes, but somebody needs to start developing legislation that will remove that blockage in due course. At some point, somebody's going to, rather than flagging it,
the parts of that not come under, what do you call that Shared Services Act? What's the correct name for that? Yeah, does that not cover that in legislation?
I think it's different. Sorry, Chair. I think it's different when it comes to the data sharing piece, because it's sort of subject to different legislation, but it's definitely worth asking this here, because it is so important, because it does underpin all of these government services.
No, Chair, that,
If it affects them all, then nobody has a really a responsibility, and it just continues to affect them all without being done.
But I think that's the reason for the Shared Services Act coming into effect originally, and often departments don't draw on it, unfortunately, the way they should, because there is obligations under the Act.
and then you've identified one element there. Let's go after everybody then, whose responsibility.
Would you have young adults as well? So that wouldn't be enough to cover it.
No,
No,
Young adults and apprenticeships and things. So they'd fall outside the scope of that.
yeah, of course, yeah. Okay, so what are we suggesting then in relation to recommendation 6?
I think I asked the question about what plans are, what work might be done to see if that issue can be addressed.
is it legislative or what's sitting out there? Interrogate a wee bit more, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anyone else? I was just looking there, Lucia, that I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in green. Is that right? You 4?
The colour in the last two.
Off because it looks like orange is the new green in this document, but we'll not get into that. We'll not get into that.
Me and Colm's happy enough for orange or green. We just need one of the other colours and we're all
I think at that point now, I was
Okay.
at that point.
Well, Lucia, are you content with what members have said there then? And can you pull that all together and form a reply
Yes.
based on the concerns raised?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. So members content then to reply to the department to that effect?
Great.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item 8, members, is the Minister of Direction, the licence fee payment to A5 owners. Joining us for this particular section will be Dorinnia, Controller Auditor General from Northern Ireland, Patrick Barr from the Northern Ireland Audit Office. You're both very welcome. Thank you very much. Just before we go into closed session, members, a bit of an outline. So the Ministry of Direction for this particular section is at pages 28 to 48 of the meeting pack. The A5 terms of reference update provided at pages 49 to 53 of the meeting pack, and the clerk's brief kindly provided at pages 8 to 10 of the table pack. Members, you'll be aware that certain aspects of the A5 project are currently before the courts. In line with Standing Order 73, which is sub judice, the committee should avoid any discussion that could prejudice those proceedings. We must therefore be careful to exclude any prejudicial comment on the ongoing litigation. So, having taken advice from the clerk, I would propose as chair that the briefing from the Controller and Auditor General on the A5 Minister Direction and the update on the A5 case today should be held in closed session due to the restricted and redacted status of the papers and the ongoing legal proceedings. Okay, members?
Answer.
Okay. Members, we'll now move into closed session to discuss this item in more detail. Thank you.